Pete Rose. A name synonymous with baseball, he is a legend, a hero to many, yet he is also a figure shrouded in controversy. Rose's career is a study in contrasts, a tale of triumph and tragedy intertwined. He is the hit king, holding the record for the most hits in Major League Baseball history. But Rose's story doesn't end with cheers and accolades. His involvement with gambling on baseball tarnished his legacy. This is the story of Pete Rose, the rise, the reign, and the fall. Pete Rose's name is etched in baseball lore. His nickname, Charlie Hustle, perfectly captures his relentless style. Rose wasn't blessed with the most talent, but he made up for it with sheer willpower. He played every game as if it were his last, diving headfirst into bases. He became a fan favorite in Cincinnati, the city he would forever be linked with. The roar of the crowd at Riverfront Stadium when Rose stepped up to bat was deafening. They adored his blue-collar work ethic and genuine love for the game. At the height of his career, Pete Rose was untouchable. But beneath the surface, a storm was brewing. Rumors of Rose's gambling habit began to circulate. The baseball world watched in disbelief as the hero's image started to crumble. The truth, as it often does, came out. Peter Edward Rose's story began on the streets of Cincinnati, Ohio. Born in 1941, Rose's love affair with baseball started early. He wasn't just playing, he was living and breathing baseball. Every swing, every catch, every throw was fueled by an almost obsessive passion. Rose's talent was evident from a young age. He possessed a natural athleticism and an unwavering determination to succeed. His parents, Harry and Laverne, recognized their son's passion and nurtured his talent. Rose's father, a semi-pro football player, became his son's biggest supporter and toughest critic. Evenings and weekends were spent at the ballpark with his father offering pointers and encouragement. Rose wasn't just playing for fun, he was playing with a purpose, driven by a burning desire to make it to the big leagues. Rose's talent couldn't be contained to the sandlots for long. He starred at Western Hills High School, showcasing the skills that would later make him a legend. His hustle and determination were evident in every play, earning him the nickname Charlie Hustle. While in high school, Rose caught the eye of scouts from his hometown team, the Cincinnati Reds. In 1960, Rose signed with the Reds, realizing his childhood dream of playing professional baseball. He started his professional career in the minor leagues, where he continued to impress. In 1963, the call came. Rose was going to the majors. He made his debut for the Reds on April 8, 1963, against the Pittsburgh Pirates. From the moment he stepped onto the field as a Cincinnati Red, Pete Rose played with a fire and intensity that captivated fans. He ran to first base on walks, he slid headfirst into bases, a cloud of dust trailing behind him. This wasn't just showmanship, it was Rose's way of respecting the game. His style of play earned him both admiration and criticism. Some saw it as refreshing, a throwback to a time when players left everything on the field. Others considered it reckless, even dangerous. But love it or hate it, Rose's all-out approach was impossible to ignore. He played every game as if it were his last, with a passion and intensity that were contagious. For Rose, baseball wasn't just a game, it was an obsession. Rose's rookie season in 1963 was nothing short of spectacular. He took the league by storm, earning him the National League Rookie of the Year award. The following years saw Rose blossom into one of the most feared hitters in baseball. In 1970, Rose was instrumental in leading the Reds to their first World Series appearance in 9 years. The Big Red Machine was born, a team loaded with talent and led by Rose's fiery spirit. Although they lost to the Baltimore Orioles in the World Series that year, Rose's star continued to rise. The pinnacle of Rose's early career came in 1973, when he led the Reds to another World Series appearance. The 1970s were a golden era for the Cincinnati Reds, and at the heart of their success was Pete Rose. The team, dubbed the Big Red Machine, became a symbol of baseball excellence. Under the leadership of manager Sparky Anderson, the Reds won back-to-back World Series titles in 1975 and 1976. Rose, playing alongside Hall of Famers Joe Morgan, Johnny Bench, and Tony Perez, was an integral part of the team's success. Rose's intensity was on full display during the 1975 World Series against the Boston Red Sox. In what is considered one of the greatest World Series ever played, Rose batted .370, earning him the World Series MVP award. The following year, the Reds repeated as World Series champions, sweeping the New York Yankees. Rose was their undisputed leader, a fiery competitor who embodied the team's never-say-die attitude. As the 1970s progressed, Rose's focus shifted from team accomplishments to individual milestones. He had already established himself as one of the greatest hitters of his generation, but he wasn't satisfied. Rose wanted more. He craved records, the kind that would etch his name in baseball lore for eternity. He had his sights set on Ty Cobb's all-time hits record, a seemingly insurmountable 4,191 hits. Rose's pursuit of Cobb's record became a national obsession. Every hit was a news event, every game a step closer to history. Fans across the country were swept up in the excitement, marveling at Rose's longevity and determination. Each milestone was a testament to Rose's work ethic and passion for the game. By the late 1970s, Pete Rose's pursuit of Ty Cobb's all-time hits record had become a national obsession. Cobb, a legendary figure from baseball's early days, was a ghost that haunted Rose's every at-bat. 4,191 hits stood as a seemingly insurmountable barrier. Rose, however, was undeterred. He saw Cobb's record as a challenge, a mountain to climb. The media followed Rose's every move, chronicling his climb up the all-time hits list. Fans packed stadiums across the country, eager to witness a piece of baseball history. He was determined to prove the doubters wrong. The summer of 1985 was a magical time for baseball fans. Pete Rose, now a player-manager for the Cincinnati Reds, was closing in on Ty Cobb's all-time hits record. On September 11th, 1985, facing San Diego Padres pitcher Eric Show, Rose stepped into the batter's box. The crowd was on its feet, a sea of red roaring its approval. Show delivered a fastball, and Rose lined the ball into left center field for a single. Pete Rose was baseball's new hit king. The celebration for Rose's record-breaking hit was a sight to behold. Fireworks lit up the Cincinnati sky, the crowd chanted his name, and teammates mobbed him on the field. It was a moment of pure joy, a culmination of years of hard work and dedication. Rose had etched his name in baseball lore, surpassing a record that many thought would never be broken. By the end of the 1985 season, Rose had amassed 4,256 hits, a record that seemed unbreakable. His accomplishment transcended baseball. Rose had become a cultural icon, synonymous with hard work and an unyielding desire to be the best. In 1984, Pete Rose took on a new challenge, becoming the player-manager of the Cincinnati Reds. It was a role he had coveted, a chance to lead his hometown team from both inside and outside the lines. Rose, always a student of the game, relished the opportunity to share his knowledge and experience with younger players. The transition wasn't without its difficulties. Balancing the demands of playing and managing proved to be a daunting task. Rose, used to being in the thick of the action, now had to delegate, to trust his players to make decisions that impacted the entire team. His managerial style was a reflection of his playing style. Intense, demanding, and always focused on winning. He expected his players to give their all, to play with the same passion and fire that had defined his own career. Some players thrived under Rose's leadership, while others struggled to adapt to his demanding approach. Pete Rose's tenure as manager of the Reds was marked by both success and controversy. On the field, the team remained competitive, but off the field, Rose's personal life began to overshadow his managerial accomplishments. Rumors of his gambling habit, which had circulated during his playing days, resurfaced with a vengeance. Rose's fiery personality, which had endeared him to fans during his playing days, now seemed to work against him. He clashed with umpires, argued with opposing managers, and sometimes let his emotions get the better of him. The media, always eager for a story, pounced on Rose's every misstep, portraying him as an out-of-control gambler who was unfit to manage a baseball team. Despite the mounting pressure and negative publicity, Rose remained defiant. He denied any wrongdoing, claiming that his gambling was a personal matter and had no impact on his ability to manage the team. However, the allegations continued to swirl, casting a dark shadow over his accomplishments and threatening to tarnish his legacy. Despite the controversies brewing off the field, Pete Rose continued to add to his legendary hit total. He surpassed the 4,200 hit mark in 1986, solidifying his place as one of the most prolific hitters in baseball history. Fans, while aware of the allegations against him, continued to marvel at his longevity and his unwavering ability to get on base. Rose's approach at the plate remained unchanged. A simple yet effective swing, a knack for finding holes in the defense, and an unmatched determination to reach base. He was a throwback to a different era, a time when players relied on contact, speed, and a relentless work ethic to succeed. His pursuit of hits became a metaphor for his life, a constant battle against Father Time, a refusal to acknowledge limitations, and an unyielding belief in his own abilities. Rose was determined to squeeze every last ounce of talent from his aging body, to prove that he could still compete at the highest level. By 1989, Pete Rose's managerial career was coming to an end. The cloud of suspicion surrounding his gambling activities had grown too large, the pressure too intense. He resigned as manager of the Reds, his legacy forever tarnished by the allegations that would follow him for the rest of his life. Despite his accomplishments on the field, Rose's name would forever be linked to the gambling scandal that led to his banishment from baseball. The debate over his Hall of Fame worthiness continues to this day, a reminder that even the greatest players are not immune to the consequences of their actions. Pete Rose's story is a cautionary tale, a reminder that fame and fortune can be fleeting, that even the most celebrated athletes are human, capable of making mistakes that can have devastating consequences. His legacy is a complex one, a mixture of brilliance and tragedy, of triumph and downfall. The rumors about Pete Rose's gambling had always swirled around him like a pesky breeze. But as the 1980s progressed, that breeze turned into a hurricane, threatening to consume his legacy. The whispers grew louder, the accusations more pointed. The baseball world watched, a sense of dread settling in as the hero's image began to crack. It began with whispers from bookies, tales of debts and high-stakes bets. Then came the testimonies, former associates alleging Rose's deep involvement in gambling on baseball. The accusations were damning, painting a picture of a man consumed by a dangerous addiction, an addiction that had crossed the line into the sport he claimed to love. The baseball commissioner at the time, Peter Ueberroth, took the allegations seriously. Gambling was baseball's cardinal sin, a threat to the integrity of the game. Ueberroth appointed a former federal prosecutor, John Dowd, to lead an investigation into Rose's activities. The investigation, thorough and relentless, would uncover the truth, but it would also leave an indelible stain on the sport and its most celebrated hitter. Rose, for his part, remained defiant. He denied betting on baseball, dismissing the accusations as fabrications from disgruntled former associates. He maintained his innocence, but his denials rang hollow to many. The evidence was mounting, and the walls were closing in on the hit king. In 1989, John Dowd delivered his findings in a massive 225-page report that shook the baseball world to its core. The Dowd Report, as it came to be known, detailed Rose's gambling activities, providing evidence that he had bet on baseball games, including games involving his own team, the Cincinnati Reds. The report was meticulously detailed, containing testimonies from bookies, associates, and even Rose's own family members. It included betting slips with Rose's handwriting, phone records documenting calls to known bookmakers, and financial records indicating substantial gambling debts. The evidence was overwhelming, leaving little doubt in the minds of many that Rose had bet on baseball. The report's release sent shockwaves through the sport. Fans grappled with the news, struggling to reconcile the image of their hero with the reality of his actions. The Dowd Report wasn't just a document, it was an indictment, a stain on the legacy of one of baseball's most iconic figures. It cast a dark cloud over the sport, forcing a reckoning with its own vulnerabilities and the consequences of its hero's transgressions. On August 24, 1989, Pete Rose entered a room at a Cincinnati hotel, the weight of the world on his shoulders. He was there to meet with Baseball Commissioner Bart Giamatti, who had replaced Peter Ueberroth, to discuss the findings of the Dowd Report. The meeting was tense, the air thick with anticipation. Giamatti, a scholar of the game and a man who understood the importance of preserving baseball's integrity, presented Rose with the evidence against him. He laid out the options. Rose could fight the allegations, dragging the sport through a lengthy and damaging legal battle, or he could accept a lifetime ban from baseball. Rose, facing the consequences of his actions, chose the latter. He signed an agreement with Major League Baseball, accepting a permanent place on the ineligible list. It was a day of reckoning, a day that marked the end of Rose's career and cast a long shadow over his legacy. The banishment was a shock to many, even those who believed the allegations against him. It was a harsh punishment, a stark reminder that in baseball some sins are simply unforgivable. Rose, the hit king, the hero of Riverfront Stadium, was now a pariah, banished from the game he loved. The years following his banishment were difficult for Pete Rose. The shame of his actions, the weight of his exile from baseball, hung over him like a shroud. He retreated from the public eye, his once boisterous personality subdued, his trademark swagger replaced with a quiet humility. But even in exile, Rose clung to the hope of redemption. He admitted to betting on baseball games, though he maintained he never bet against his own team. He expressed remorse for his actions, acknowledging the pain he had caused the sport, the fans, and his family. Rose's pleas for forgiveness were met with mixed reactions. Some fans, their memories of his on-field exploits still vivid, were willing to forgive. Others, however, remained unconvinced, believing that his banishment was justified, a necessary punishment for a transgression that struck at the heart of the game's integrity. Year after year, Rose applied for reinstatement, hoping for a chance to return to baseball, to be welcomed back into the fold. He sought forgiveness from commissioners, from former teammates, from anyone who would listen. His quest for redemption became a public spectacle, a constant reminder of his fall from grace and the enduring power of his legend. Pete Rose's banishment from baseball ignited a debate that continues to rage today. Should he be eligible for the Hall of Fame? It's a question that has divided fans, sports writers, and even Hall of Famers themselves. A testament to the complexity of Rose's legacy and the enduring power of his accomplishments on the field. On the one hand, Rose's statistics are undeniable. He holds the all-time records for hits, games played, at-bats, and plate appearances. He was a 17-time All-Star, a 3-time World Series champion, and the 1973 National League Most Valuable Player. His accomplishments on the field, viewed in isolation, scream Hall of Fame. On the other hand, Rose's gambling on baseball, a transgression that threatens the integrity of the game, hangs over his candidacy like a dark cloud. The Hall of Fame, after all, is not just a museum of statistical achievements, it's a shrine to the game's history, its values and its heroes. The question is whether Rose, despite his on-field greatness, is worthy of a place among the game's immortals given the shadow of his actions. In 2015, Major League Baseball offered Pete Rose a glimmer of hope, a chance to step back onto the field that had brought him both glory and heartbreak. He was invited to participate in the All-Star Game festivities in Cincinnati, his hometown, a city that had never forgotten its prodigal son. The roar of the crowd at Great American Ballpark, the successor to Riverfront Stadium, was deafening as Rose was introduced. Fans, many of whom weren't even alive when he last donned a Reds uniform, chanted his name, their cheers a mix of adoration and forgiveness. It was a bittersweet homecoming for Rose, a reminder of what he had lost, and a testament to the enduring power of his connection with baseball fans. He stood on the field, tears in his eyes, as the crowd serenaded him with a chorus of "Pete, Pete, Pete," a moment that transcended the scandal, the banishment, the years of exile. The Pete Rose paradox, a hero flawed. Pete Rose's story is a study in contrasts, a testament to the complexities of human nature. He was a hero who embodied the spirit of hard work, determination, and an unyielding will to win. He was also a flawed individual, consumed by a gambling addiction that ultimately led to his downfall. He was Charlie Hustle, the scrappy kid from Cincinnati who ran to first base on walks and slid headfirst into every base, a player who squeezed every ounce of talent from his body. He was also the man who bet on baseball, a transgression that tarnished his legacy and cast a shadow over his accomplishments. Rose's story is a reminder that heroes are not infallible, that even the greatest among us are capable of making mistakes that have lasting consequences. It's a story about the fragility of fame, the allure of addiction, and the enduring power of redemption. The love of the game, a constant in a sea of change. Throughout the controversies, the banishment, the years of exile, one thing remained constant for Pete Rose: his love for the game of baseball. It was a love that burned brightly even in the darkest of times, a love that transcended the pain, the regret, and the missed opportunities. Even in his later years, Rose could be found at baseball fields, watching games, talking, hitting with young players, sharing his knowledge of a game that had been such an integral part of his life. The passion in his voice, the glint in his eye, betrayed a man who, despite everything, still found joy in the sights, sounds, and rhythms of baseball. Pete Rose's story is a reminder that love for the game, in its purest form, can endure even the most difficult of circumstances. It's a testament to the enduring power of sport to captivate, to inspire, and to remind us that even in the face of adversity, the love of the game can be a source of solace and hope. The unforgiven, a legacy tarnished, a legend enduring. Pete Rose's story is a Shakespearean drama on the baseball diamond. He reached the highest of highs, etching his name in the record books. His relentless hustle made him a fan favorite, but his flaws led to his downfall. The gambling scandal cast a long shadow over his accomplishments. The hit king forever denied a place in the Hall of Fame. Yet, despite the scandal, Pete Rose remains a legend. His records still stand, a testament to his incredible talent. His legacy endures, a complex mixture of brilliance and tragedy. The debate surrounding Pete Rose's Hall of Fame eligibility is perhaps the most contentious in baseball history. It transcends statistics, sparking passionate arguments about the soul of the game. Some believe Rose's on-field accomplishments warrant his enshrinement. They point to his record-breaking hits and World Series rings. Others argue his gambling disqualifies him from the honor. The Hall of Fame is a shrine to the game's history and integrity. It's a dilemma that continues to spark passionate arguments. The Pete Rose story is not one easily categorized into neat boxes of right and wrong. It's a story painted in shades of grey, a complex tapestry of talent and flaws. To understand Rose, one must look beyond the headlines and delve into the nuances. Rose was a man of contradictions, a walking paradox. He embodied hustle, yet was capable of recklessness, pushing limits too far. He craved the spotlight, but was uncomfortable with scrutiny. Fiercely loyal, yet he betrayed the game, succumbing to gambling. a man of immense talent, yet self-destructive, tarnishing his legacy. Pete Rose's story reminds us that human nature is rarely simple. It challenges us to grapple with the complexities of a life lived in full spectrum. Section 4. The price of passion, the highs and lows of a baseball life. Pete Rose's life and career are a testament to the intoxicating power of passion. His love for baseball consumed him, driving him to achieve greatness on the field, pushing him to break records that many thought would stand forever. He played with a fire, an intensity that was contagious, inspiring his teammates and captivating fans. But that same passion, that relentless pursuit of victory, also had a dark side. It fueled his gambling addiction, his need to feel the thrill of the bet, the rush of winning, even if it meant risking everything he had worked for. It led him down a dangerous path, a path that ultimately cost him his place in the game he loved. Rose's story is a cautionary tale about the price of passion, the highs and lows that come with dedicating oneself fully to a pursuit. It's a reminder that even the most positive of passions can have destructive consequences, if not tempered with discipline, self-awareness, and a healthy dose of perspective. It's a story that forces us to ask ourselves, how far would we go for something we love? What price are we willing to pay for our passions? And most importantly, how do we find the balance between pursuing our dreams without losing ourselves in the process? Section 5. A mirror to society, Rose's fall and our own infatuation with winning. Pete Rose's downfall reflects a larger societal obsession with winning at all costs. We glorify success, celebrating those who reach the top regardless of the methods. Rose's relentless pursuit of victory resonated with many. He embodied the win-at-all-costs mentality, celebrated in sports, business, and personal lives. But this pursuit of success can come at a steep price. Rose's gambling, his betrayal of the game's integrity, is an extreme manifestation of this mentality. His fall serves as a mirror, reflecting our own infatuation with winning. It challenges us to examine our values and ask, what are we willing to sacrifice for victory? Section 6. The future of forgiveness. Will baseball ever pardon its hit king? The question of whether Pete Rose will ever be reinstated into baseball, his lifetime ban lifted, continues to be a source of speculation and debate. It's a question that goes beyond Rose himself, touching upon themes of forgiveness, redemption, and the very nature of second chances. Rose has spent decades seeking forgiveness for his actions, expressing remorse for his gambling and pleading for another chance to be a part of the game he loves. He has acknowledged his mistakes, paid his debt to society, and dedicated himself to making amends for his past transgressions. But forgiveness, especially in the court of public opinion, is a fickle mistress. Some believe that Rose has served his time, that his contrition is genuine, and that he deserves another chance to be welcomed back into the baseball fold. Others remain unconvinced, believing that his actions were so egregious, his betrayal of trust so profound, that he should remain forever banned from the sport. The decision of whether to reinstate Rose ultimately rests with the Commissioner of Baseball, a decision that will likely be influenced by a complex web of factors, including public opinion, the views of the owners, and the legacy of the sport itself. It's a decision that will have far-reaching implications, shaping not only Rose's future, but also how baseball chooses to define its values and its capacity for forgiveness. Section 7, the final chapter, a story unfinished, a legacy still written. Pete Rose's story is not yet finished. He may be banned from baseball, his name absent from the Hall of Fame ballot, but his presence continues to loom large over the sport he loves. His records still stand, his legacy a source of endless fascination and debate. He remains a complex and contradictory figure, a man capable of both great and terrible things. He is a reminder that heroes are not infallible, that even the most celebrated among us are human, flawed, and capable of making mistakes that have lasting consequences. But Rose's story is also a testament to the enduring power of passion, the indelible mark that one person can leave on a sport and the complex relationship between forgiveness, redemption, and legacy. It's a story that continues to resonate with fans, sparking conversations about the nature of heroism, the price of success, and the enduring power of the game itself. In the end, Pete Rose's legacy is still being written. Only time will tell how he will be remembered, how his story will ultimately unfold. But one thing is certain, his name, whispered or shouted, will forever be synonymous with baseball. A reminder of both the game's capacity for greatness and its vulnerability to human frailty.